Where are you from?
I'm from Manchester.
Yeah, what's the channel you're doing?
Reel Knewz. REELKNEWZ. Why are you here today?
I'm here today to support the Palestinian people, the bombardment of Gaza and of the West Bank by air and ground force of Israel.
Palestine! Free! Free! Palestine! Free! Free! Palestine! Free! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Louder! Takbir! Allahu Akbar! Takbir! Allahu Akbar!
الشعب يريد تحرير فلسطين. الشعب يريد تحرير فلسطين. الشعب.
What brings you here today, ma'am?
I'm just like you, reporting the event for a TV station in Jordan. It's my first time ever attending any rally of any sort, but my mom was a Palestinian activist. She passed away last year and I'm doing this in her honor today.
So I'm here today from the Socialist Party and I'm here to protest like I think there's going to be many tens, hopefully hundreds of thousands of people here today. And we're protesting in solidarity with the Palestinian masses and the nightmare they're facing.
There's a whole genocide going on in there.
Bombing children and murdering children.
The evictions in East Jerusalem, the bombing now of Gaza.
I cannot believe they're destroying whole buildings in Gaza for the first time. And this is the first time that there's been conflict within the occupied territories. So in Al-Fahim, in Al-Lid, in the cities that are occupied by the Israelis.
Add that to the more than 62,000 Palestinian homes demolished when the State of Israel was established. This is ethnic cleansing. It is settler colonialism.
It's absolutely wrong in any form of international law and lacks any moral justification. So I've called for the end to all military cooperation with Israel, full recognition of the state of Palestine, and withdrawal of the settlements and the occupation of the West Bank, and end the siege of Gaza.
And the whole world's just really quiet about it. It doesn't make sense at all. It's going on for over 40 years.
I've been going on demonstrations on this issue for a very long time.
I've been standing with Palestine since...
Oh God, I can't remember. What year was it? I can't remember years ago. I was a young woman. Maybe 40 years ago.
67? Even when I was a kid.
The last few demonstrations have been much, much younger. I've been going on them all my life.
But it has been from, I became a socialist when I was 13, 14, so in the mid-80s. And there were two issues internationally that motivated me. It was South Africa and the struggle against apartheid by the black masses in South Africa. And it was Palestine and the misery that was being suffered then.
Yeah, I go to school here.
Did they ever teach you about any of the Palestinian history?
Not until last week, where some students forced the teachers to talk about it. Yeah.
Ooh, child, no, they don't. They don't.
No, not at all.
So, in Italy where I'm from, they don't teach you anything about this.
We had to fight for them to actually talk about it.
They don't even give an accurate representation on the
We
media.
asked them, and some of them like, oh, it's loads of people come with concerns like this. We'll talk about it another day. But yeah, it just shows how they don't care.
I'm a teacher. I teach history and politics, and my A-level politics group yesterday, they were discussing political issues, revising for a mock exam that's coming up, and they chose different political issues, what they thought was important, how it related to our syllabus. And two of the Jewish girls in the class were very passionate about it. Both of them, one of them called Netanyahu a fascist, the other one called him a dictator. And that did not come from me. That came from their home background. I'm Irish, and Ireland was occupied for centuries. So I think a lot of Irish people have a lot of empathy with the Palestinians.
I didn't learn about, well, actually, no. So the only reason why I knew what was going on in Israel and Palestine was because I had a rather radical Irish, Republic of Ireland Irish, history teacher who was teaching us about the Irish oppression. So I think one day in class, this was just on the whim, we asked, I think Palestine was brought up in the news, this is back in 2016. So one of us basically asked in class, what's going on in Israel and Palestine, what is this? And she explained it to us so simply. That is the only thing I heard, and that is a very rare case. That would never happen. I went to school in Kent. That place is white as hell. They weren't telling that. They weren't teaching that.
What do you think Britain's involvement with the entire situation is?
I think,
Oh, let's be real. There's no part that Britain is playing. There's no one single part. It's the whole thing. Who was there in 1947, 48? Y'all? Like, it's them. It's them. Who invented the United States of America? Also them. So, like, who stole slavery, the concept from the Spanish and the Portuguese, and then made it their global brand. Britain. So, if we're going back in history and if we're looking at now, Boris Johnson just sitting up there being both Islamophobic and an anti-Semite and anti-black all at the same time, whilst being supported by people who are actively going against the majority of us in the global south and also oppressed peoples in the global north and Western nations. Like, they're going against all of us. So, to your question, what Britain should do, deconstruct itself. What Britain needs to do is die on the line. What Britain's part is, it's the whole part, along with France, Belgium, the USA, Spain, Portugal, all of them together.
Look, Britain was once the strongest imperialist power on the planet and has played an appalling role, including here.
They're the ones that created this mess. They don't want to sort it out because it doesn't suit them. It doesn't support their narrative.
Same with the United States. We got Joe Biden, who says that it's in defense, that Israel has a right to defend, but Palestinians don't.
Israel would not be able to have the funds for their military, the IDF airstrikes, for instance. They would not have anything without Britain and America's support and Britain's money. And Britain were the ones that made a mess of it in the first place.
Oh God, yeah, no, we're entirely, well, I think it's our fault in the first place. We've been offering them money, support and arms.
I'd like to see where the tear gas and the stun grenades. I mean, Israel doesn't have a military industry. We're one of the major exporters of arms.
Britain is complicit. Britain is complicit in the arms trade. Britain is complicit because of the Balfour Declaration. It is disgusting that our Prime Minister has not taken a moral stand on this.
Well, Britain's historical involvement, of course, was the occupying power after the First World War during the Mandate period. And Britain has hugely sided with the United States in support of Israel at the United Nations. That's got to end.
Palestine will be free!
Free! Free! Palestine! What do you want it? What do you want? Justice! When do you want it? We are all Palestinians!
You should always remember that there are millions of Palestinians who don't live in Palestine. They're in refugee camps in Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and a diaspora all around the world. They deserve their rights too.
I visited Palestine in 2019 when it was Ramadan. I seen the conditions. For example, let me make an example for you. You're trying to get from central London to West London. Between central London and West London, you will have to go through about 6 checkpoints. They check your passports. They search the coaches. No one understands till you see Israel has taken over and they are trying to get Al-Aqsa. And it is the rights of the Palestinians that they own the land. All the ancestors. Imagine this. Imagine someone coming in your home, getting a bulldozer, bang, bang. You're running, you're fleeing. Imagine this. An Israeli soldier comes to you and says, I'm going to take your house. And the Palestinian says, don't take my house. The Israeli says, if I don't take your house, someone will.
You are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
No one is allowed to steal it, ya ammi.
Just imagine. Takbir. God is the greatest. Allah says in the Quran, وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ اللَّهَ غَافِلًا عَمَّا يَعْمَلُ الظَّالِمُونَ إِنَّمَا يُؤَخِّرُهُم لِيَوْمٍ تَشْخَصُ فِيهِ الْأَبْصَارُ. This means there's an Allah. Is an Allah unaware? Do they think Allah is unaware of what the wrong believers are doing? On that day, the day of judgment, they will stare. They will stare. Takbir.
What brings me here, to be honest, yeah, this is my whole truth. I didn't realise this was going on right now.
You don't have anything to say? Nothing at all?
No, what should I? Ain't doing me, is it?
Now that I'm here, obviously I'm aware and seeing what's going on. Obviously I knew about what's going on with Palestine and how they're trying to wipe it off the map and all that.
Has been wiped off the map.
Well, it has been wiped off the map. So,
It's nothing to do with me.
Is it? How come it's got nothing to do with you? Are you not stuck here in the middle of this?
I'm stuck in the middle of it. I can't get out of it. If I could get out of it, I'll get out of it, wouldn't I?
I get it. So I'm patient. I'm waiting because, you know, we have to do what we have to do to help others, you know?
Okay, so you don't have anything to do with any of this at all?
No.
Do you want anything to do with it?
Hey?
Do you want anything to do with it?
Not really, no.
Why not?
It doesn't affect me. It's nothing to do with me.
Is there anything you want to say to people sat at home watching?
Well, in England?
Huh?
In England?
In England, yeah.
I don't think they give a toss neither.
Pardon?
I don't think they give a toss neither.
Come down here and support. I'm here, you know what I mean? My car's stopped. I've stopped my car, you get it? It's all for a good cause, you know what I mean? And we're all one people, innit? We're all humans at the end of the day. We all feel, we all bleed. Do you get what I'm saying? So we should all care for one another. Do you get it? Why is their home getting wiped from them? It don't make sense. Over what?
You don't think they give a toss either? Well, come.
Oh, I don't know, mate. I don't think they do.
I need to be educated. It's one of the reasons I'm here. I'm basically here because I want to follow. I've been following what Israel have been doing to the Gaza, but to Palestine for the last 50-odd years, isn't it? You know, if we don't get on the streets and do something, nothing's going to change.
Are you Palestinian yourself, brother?
No, I'm Bangladeshi, but born here.
Thank you so much for that.
Us. They are us, and we are them.
I'll give you a Jew. There's a lot of people here. I'll give you that.
What do you think they're doing here?
Well, I ain't sure. I know why they're doing it.
What are they doing?
They're demonstrating.
Demonstrating what?
What? Israel, innit? They're Palestine. Yeah.
What's going on between them?
Well, they're having a row, aren't they? They're around with each other.
Why?
They're firing rockets into Israel, and Israel are bombing them.
Look at the human rights abuses. Just take a step back. It's not about rockets, it's not about buildings, it's human beings and who's getting caught up in it. And also who has the responsibility and who has the power to stop this.
Well, I've got to give you an history lesson now.
Please?
In 1948, didn't they? That's when it was all sorted out.
Why do you think it was all sorted out?
I don't know, mate. I wasn't born. I don't know. I haven't got an opinion about that.
Do you know what Britain's involvement with it?
I don't really care. It's not that to do with me, is it?
I'm not allowed to comment on political issues, am I?
Why not?
As well as I do.
Why not?
Because the Metropolitan Police are impartial. We're here to facilitate peaceful protest, that's all.
Friends, thank you all of the 100,000 of us that are here today in support of the people of Palestine. You heard the tragedy of the deaths of children in Gaza and on the West Bank.
The news: the BBC is under fire for its alleged bias against opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn. Viewers claim the channel is deliberately trying to portray the UK Labour Party head as too Russian.
Dressed up as a Soviet student. It was a real picture of Jeremy Corbyn. You even photoshopped his hat to look more Russian.
Today, Jeremy Corbyn is no longer a member of the Labour Party, starting with the release of a damning report by the Equalities and Human Rights Commission.
And we've identified serious failings in leadership and an inadequate process for handling anti-Semitism complaints.
I made it clear that we won't tolerate anti-Semitism or the denial of anti-Semitism, and that is why appropriate action has been taken, which I fully support.
I am determined.
No apology for how you've handled
any other
this.
form of life.
Try one more time.
No,
No
hang on a
apology.
minute, Andrew. Can I explain what we're trying to do?
You have.
There is an issue, Mr. Speaker, that needs to be addressed in this House. And before the right honourable gentleman stands up and parades himself as the champion of climate change or the champion of the people or the defender of equality and fairness, he needs to apologise for his failure to deal with racism in the Labour Party.
You know, people say, oh, politicians should be careful what they say and they should watch their words and all this sort of mumbo-jumbo. I don't agree. I don't agree. I really don't.
Even if it's
offensive. I think one of the reasons.
But even if it's offensive,
his comments that veiled women are letterboxes and bank robbers are dehumanising. Number one, you're forgetting that there's a human being behind it, and also when they describe us as bank robbers, he's creating an environment of suspicion. He's criminalising us in the public life.
Actually, if you look at that article, which I don't know if anybody did, it was a strong liberal defence of the right of women to wear the burqa.
It's very clear that the language that Boris Johnson used to describe people's appearance has caused offence.
Described African people as having watermelon smiles.
For those of us who from a young age have had to endure and face up to being called names such as Towelhead or Taliban or coming from Bongo land, we can appreciate full well the hurt and pain felt by already vulnerable Muslim women when they are described as looking like bank robbers and letterboxes.
Can I explain what we're trying to do?
You have, and you've been given plenty of time to do it. I asked you if you wanted to apologise.
Andrew,
and you
I
haven't.
don't want anyone to go through what anyone has gone through.
And you've said that several times. I understand that, Mr Corbyn. I was asking you about an apology. Let's move on to Brexit.
End the occupation now! Peace for the people of Palestine!
What do you think about the media blaming Jeremy Corbyn for being
anti-Semitic? A classic example of what I just said. Anyone who wants to speak out against Palestine is going to be labelled that. And look what it's done to his career and his, journey in politics. Look what that's done to him. It's damaged him. It's complete bullshit. He's the one politician that's actually spoken about Palestine and stood up for Palestine.
It's a disgrace. Absolutely. The media has smeared Jeremy, and that's very clear. Everyone knows it.
Obvious what we think of Boris Johnson. The man's
useless, inadequate. I don't know, words fail me. Can you think of that?
Total far-right headbangers. Yeah. When he was the Mayor of London, he was quite a liberal, but he clearly isn't now. He's just seen which way the wind is blowing and going in that direction.
In the world, I'm John Courtnidge, and the brief background is that I was the chair of the Cooperative Party in the London Borough of Bromley, and I was the Labour Party's candidate for Parliament in Bromley and Chislehurst in 2015. But then the London Labour Party discovered that I'm a socialist, and so they made sure that I was not the candidate in 2017 and not the candidate in 2019. And then to bring you right up to date, I was expelled from the Labour Party on the 10th of February of last year, 2020, for being, in their view, anti-Semitic. Given that I'm a Quaker, given that I'm a Christian, given that I've been a Labour town councillor and parliamentary candidate, given that by invitation I was asked to be a candidate in the City of London, then that accusation was purely political. It's because I'm a socialist, in the same way that other socialists have been expelled from the Labour Party. There has to be a one-state solution to the question of Palestine. That solution has to be secular, even though I'm a Quaker and a Christian. And the proposal that we make is that Palestine to the 1917 boundaries in its entirety should become a cooperative socialist commonwealth. And we are launching today this network. It's completely not hierarchical, it's completely unfunded, and it will never be funded, called Londoners for Cooperative Socialism. You're holding your microphone in your right hand. If you could move it to your left hand. This is the hyphen in cooperation, not cooperation. This is the symbol of equality on which true cooperation and true socialism is based. So when people Google Londoners for Cooperative Socialism, it's not Londoners for Cooperative Socialism, it's Londoners for Cooperative Socialism.
You social media influencers need to wake up, because I'm not seeing anyone here. No one's here. You lot have a lot of chat for everybody else. If someone was to be pregnant, you lot have a lot to say. But when things like this are happening, which is real life situations, no one's here. That's ridiculous. That's so mad. Social media influencers need to sort themselves out and need to actually say something, because why are you so quiet? Why are you so quiet?
So many people, like the media, influencers, celebrities,
everyone's just watching this atrocity taking place. And I think everyone needs to do, if you consider yourself a human being, you need to step up and you need to use every resource.
Yeah. It's not about what's easy, it's about what's right. And a life is a life when it comes down to it. And because you know, the people of the Palestinian people have been suffering for so long, over nearly 73 years or even more. And you know, it's up to the world to kind of get together and resolve it peacefully, not even with violence, with peace, and to make some sort of a commitment for all sides. You know, and just to stop the atrocities and make things on all sides for it to be better. And it's all about promoting the peace of everything, not to make things even worse than they already are. And that's all I wanted to say on it.
It's modern day colonialism, like, it needs to go. Say it.
Yeah, free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Ban out Gaza, we're not with it, it's very bad.
No, Gaza.
Yeah, free
Israel,
Gaza.
free Gaza.
Yeah, free Gaza, that's what I said. Come on, man, free Palestine, free Palestine.
Donate your time. There's so many other things you can do. Even just reading about this and being able to talk to your circles radically, that's what you should be doing. And I'm not here to tell you, yes, you must do this, otherwise you're not in solidarity with us. No, you know what you should do in your heart, deep down in your soul, in your spirit, if it's still there. You know what you should be doing.
You can't let it lead to more oppression. For instance, like I was saying, how people are taking it, some people take it in the wrong way and use it as an excuse for anti-Semitism, which is so wrong. So do not fucking do that.
We're not going to stop until Palestine is free.
Well, look, if you're here today, thank you very much. If you're at a demonstration anywhere this weekend or tomorrow, thank you very much. There's going to be a lot more demonstrations. The only defence we can give of the Palestinian people is our voices all over the world. So let's make some noise for Palestine.
For those of you who couldn't attend, I wish you could. If you think that demonstrations don't have any part or doesn't make a difference, it does to those that cannot demonstrate, to those that are under siege of Gaza. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay.
I am watching Reel Knewz because I was told to say that. And I'm very happy to say that as well.